I pretty much just hit everybody with my new reality. And it was probably like a slap in the face with a cold fish, because I was just like a dude who was traveling and surfing, and I was doing all of my construction stuff. And then all of a sudden, like, I'm into real estate investing. So yeah, like you said, people in the beginning probably just thought that that was, oh, that sounds cool. Oh, that's great. Little pat on the back. They probably
Yep.
didn't take me seriously. So I sort of just made a shift. I suppose I started to put a few posts out on Facebook, letting people know what I was doing. And I was just telling people. And I think after a little while, people really would have got enrolled in my enthusiasm, because I was really freaking excited about it in the beginning. I'm like, oh, I'm going to become financially free. It's going to be amazing. I'm going to be a millionaire. And then people probably didn't believe me in the beginning. But
Hmm.
then as that progressed, and as I started to do things, and people were like, wow, he's actually putting this thing together. So it was really just like, I know what I'm doing. I know where I'm going. And then hopefully you can see that in me. But it is a bit of a challenge, because it's like, all right, you are not a real estate guy. And then all of a sudden you are. And like, how am I going to invest a couple of $100,000 with you? Because like, how are you going to prove to me that you can do what you need to do? And that's where I actually could fall on the tailcoats of some people who actually had been successful in the mobile home park space, that looked over my shoulder, that were looking at my deals and just like blessing them. And I was going there for a bit of support and advice. So it wasn't necessarily me that I had everything that I needed, but I surrounded myself with a support team, so that I did have everything, so that people could get involved in the deal and feel comfortable.
I tell people all the time, when you start that process, you really start that process today for 12 months from now, or 6 months from now, or 18 months from now. Because if you find a deal tomorrow and nobody knows who you are, like you said, they looked at you as a construction guy. Anytime I give advice, I say, start today for the deal you may come across. Educate your database, whether it's investors or brokers or whoever it is. Educate them on why you're the guy for real estate, or you're the girl for real estate, or you're the person in their network for real estate. Because once they looked at you as the real estate person and not the construction person, I'm sure it became a little bit easier, if not a lot easier, for them to feel that commitment. Oh, here's a couple $100,000, or here's $50,000, whatever it is, because now they saw, well, he's got this guy in his corner. There's a backstop if something goes wrong. But when people always want to find the deal quickly first, and, oh, now I'm going to figure it out. There's nothing wrong with that. It just sometimes a little bit harder. Do you think, and I think this is a question I like to ask a lot of people, do you think if you would have heard that or knew that or tried that first, it would have been easier to raise money?
Oh, heck yeah. It would have been way easier. I mean, just fast forward to the next deal. We raised a couple of $1 million. So it was significantly easier. And yeah, so I was just scrambling at the last minute to try and put the deal together. And to comment on the note you made, I did exactly that. I stood up in front of real estate investment meetings and gave little presentations on the deal. I tried to pose myself as an educator, even though I was still getting educated myself. Because I just had to get myself out there and build as credibility as quick as I can, which was harder with my family and friends because they knew me to be somebody else. But when I meet new people, it's their first time of meeting me. Oh, he's a mobile home park guy. So that was a little bit easier. But yeah, I ended up doing that deal with friends and family anyway. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, I think when getting started, one of the biggest things that helps is talking early on in the process about what you're going to do. And as people see you actually taking steps to do that, they feel way more confident, because there's so many people you talk to and they're like, oh, I'm going to lose weight, and then they don't do it. Or I'm going to go out and I'm going to travel the world, and they don't do it. But when you say you're going to do something and then go do it, right? Have you heard about somebody that, traveled the world for a year on $10,000? You'd be like, wow, that's pretty interesting. And you might hit them up and just be like, hey, I'd love to do that. How are you doing it? And whether you pay them or not, but that's hugely valuable. It's proof of concept. So when you can go out there and show somebody, hey, I've got X, Y, and Z, and I'm looking to do this, and here's my resources. As you continue to do it longer and longer and have some success and people hear about it, that's when people really start taking it seriously, taking a long, hard look and saying, okay, this is something I'm actually interested in. This is something he's taking seriously. It's not just some, fad or something he got sold on, because a lot of people do get sold on real estate, they pay X, Y, and Z, and then 6 months later they're off doing, MLMs or Forex trading or something like that. So there is something to be said for the consistency and sustainability. And I think that's why John's point that he always reiterates is start today for the deal in 12 months, because if you can show someone consistent, persistent progress over a sustained amount of time, you're going to be able to show someone that you're committed, you're serious, and that you're not just going to flake out, 3 months after they give you money. So I'm sure you've seen it, we've seen it, but as you go through the process longer and longer, that conversation becomes significantly easier.
Yeah, and if you can't commit to 12 months to expand your business, then you're not committed to building a business of any significance.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. So bought the first park and then moved on to the next couple ones. When did it shift from, hey, just doing a couple, a joint venture with some friends and family, to, hey, I'm really syndicating this business, I'm building it out. I've got multiple investors who are, they're just contacts as investors. When did that shift start to happen, and how was that like for you?
Yeah, it would have been the second deal. I knew myself right in the beginning, before I got my first park, that I was going into this all in. And so I knew that was my vision. And by the second deal, I'd already had experience on the first one. I'd been managing it for a while. I'd already done a lot of the turnarounds, and we brought homes in and fixed a lot of things up and done work to the infrastructure and increased the NOI. And so I was like deep into it. So things became much easier once I started to build a real business around, like, okay, this is really tangibly now my niche and my business model. And I just became completely and thoroughly obsessed with that. I started educating, speaking at a lot of meetings, hosting my own events and boot camps and bus tours to actual mobile home parks to show people how it works and show how operations work, and just going all out. So yeah, I was blogging, speaking in front of a room, hosting my own events, networking like crazy. So living in Southern California, I was living in Orange County, and I would go to meetings in LA County, Orange County, San Diego County, and Riverside County. So that's like sort of geographically 3-hour sort of loop. And I would go to 1 to 2 meetings a week. And I did that for about 1 to 2 years. And I ended up building an investor list of 500 people within the first 12 months. And it sort of expanded from there. So it was really, I suppose, how it worked for me. It was just, I knew what I wanted, and I just took all out massive action, laser focus. Once I decided I was doing mobile home parks, the universe must have just said, oh, I'll test you. And then it just threw multifamily deals at me. It threw other opportunities at me. And I had to just say no to all of it. And it was a little bit challenging, because I was like, oh, that's so attractive, and that's attractive, and that's attractive. I'm like, nope, not going to do any of that. Just laser focus on mobile home parks.
That's good. So with parks being in multiple areas across the country, I know one of the things that we've talked about, because it's a space we've been trying to get into and got our toes into, basically, how have you guys handled the management side of things? Because oftentimes, there's no real third-party managers, and if we've never met anyone that's good, and oftentimes they don't support full-time staff like multifamily properties do. How have you guys handled the management of these properties?
Yeah, so in-house management, affiliate company, our own property management company, essentially. Because in the apartment space, the monthly rent, we're talking like over $1,000 a month, $2,000, whatever. When you have 7% of 200 unit apartments, there's actually like pretty legitimate money there to be made for a property manager. If you try and do the same thing in a mobile home park space where the lot rents average about $300 a month, you can't get quality third-party property management. So we do in-house property management, and then we've got our off-site team, and then we've got our on-site teams as well. So our on-site teams comprise of on-site manager, on-site maintenance. If it's a small enough park, it will be a combo of both. And then, larger parks, we might even have like a bit more of a larger team. But really, the biggest thing about managing afar is just the psychological hurdle of knowing that you can't drive 20 minutes down the road and get to your park. I've got parks completely across the other side of the country, and it's never been a problem. I mean, I've had gas leaks, I've had like just about everything that could possibly go wrong. And there's always a way to be able to handle it. So the first thing is having really, really good on-site manager. And the main thing is, are they going to pick up the phone all the time? Are they going to be reliable and give you accurate information? And then, like, we're in a technology age, so it's pretty freaking easy to grab your phone and to just, go out there and film something, take a quick video. We give our managers a little sort of GoPro. It's a different brand. I think it's a Polaroid Cube we use, but it's like a GoPro, and they stick it on the hood of their car and they cruise around the park and they do a drive-through video. It's basically like me walking through the park and looking at it all. We get before and after videos of everything that we do with construction. And then we get third-party verification. So if something needs to be done, they send photos and videos. They'll do the work, and then we'll get completed photos and videos, and then we'll get a third party to go over and inspect and make sure that the work got done correctly.